Good morning, everybody, and happy Friday. Thank you for joining us for CABS's e-training webinar. My name is Liz Novak, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for the Copper and Brass Service Center Association. We're all very happy that you're here. Before I introduce our guest speaker, I'd like to cover two housekeeping items. First, if you have a question during the presentation, please submit the question using the Questions tab on your toolbar. Questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Second, all attendees today will receive a survey 1 hour after the webinar ends. Please complete this survey because your responses will help us plan future CABSA webinars. We are excited to have Sam Richter with us again this morning. Sam first gave a keynote presentation to the CABSA audience in March at the 63rd Annual CABSA Convention in Las Vegas. Today, you will hear Sam's popular presentation, No More Selling, which among many things will teach you Google search secrets for finding qualified leads and tips and tricks for using hidden websites to make more sales. Sam Richter is an internationally recognized expert on sales, marketing, and reputation management. His award-winning experience includes building innovative technology, sales and marketing programs for startup companies, and some of the world's most famous brands. He is the author of the best-selling book, Take the Cold Out of Cold Calling, which is considered to be the preeminent publications on finding information online and using it for sales success. Sam is founder and CEO of SBR Worldwide, No More, and SVP Chief Marketing Officer at Actify. So without further ado, I would now like to turn the presentation over to Sam Richter. Sam?
Hey, thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate you spending an hour with me today, and I promise to fill your mind with some great stuff on No More Selling, and that's No More with a K. How to know more than you ever thought you could or even should about clients, prospects, and the competition. So I'm going to say something, see if you agree with me. The internet has changed the way people buy and sell. Well, of course, but it might not be the way you think I mean. You see, a lot of people obviously know that the internet has changed the way people buy and sell as it relates to e-commerce and auctions and online auctions and, making really products and services, a lot of what you guys sell, what I would call a commodity. And please don't take offense to that. What I mean by a commodity is I can buy it somewhere else, usually cheaper. But that's not really what I mean when I say the internet has changed the way people buy and sell. What I'm talking about is the traditional role of buyer and seller. You know, if we use date ranges, there's BG, there's CE. Anybody know what BG stands for? It actually stands for before Google. How old is Google? Anybody know? Well, Google's about 16 years old. So think about this. If you were in business more than 16 years ago, so you were in selling, you were doing stuff like that 16, 17, 18 years ago. Remember those days you used to take prospects out for 2-hour lunches? And why was that? Because before Google, if information is power, who had the information about your company? Who had the information about you and your services? Well, you did. And so prospects were willing to give you 2-hour lunches and 4-hour golf events. So fast forward to today. How many of you take 2-hour lunches? How many of you even take lunch? So that's what's really changed, is buyers today have what we call buyer's intelligence. They've already Googled you. They think they know everything there is to know about you. They might not, but they think they do. So buyers have buyer's intelligence. What's your excuse for not having sales intelligence, for understanding what's going on in the other person's world? Because at the end of the day, people buy from people they like. People buy from people they trust and people that provide value. Unless you're doing that, unless you're connecting with your clients and prospects in a meaningful, relevant way, you become that low-priced commodity. So what's your excuse for not having sales intelligence? You know, I hear the excuses all the time. Oh, the companies I call on are small, privately held businesses. There's nothing out there on those people. I don't have time to do this stuff. Oh, you know, every time I try this, I just get frustrated. Well, we're going to blow through those excuses today, and we're going to answer the question, could our businesses be better with access to better information? So over the next 55 minutes, what you're going to learn is about 1 more minute on the theory of the 4th R, and then we're going to dive into 4th R University, how to find information in ways you never thought possible. Now, everything I'm going to show you, they're really not teaching your kids in school. So if you've got kids, you're going to end up actually being smarter than them on how to use the internet. But so what? So you're smarter than a fifth grader. Who cares? How do we actually use what we learn in 4th Hour University to find qualified leads and to really connect with a prospect when we get in the door? Now today we only have about an hour together, so I'm going to be giving you what I call a taste of Know More, some of my favorite tips. Of course, you can get all 312 pages of tips and examples and scripts and information on how to use this at my book, Take the Cold Out of Cold Calling. It's now in its 11th edition. Came out about 3 weeks ago now, the 11th edition, and everything I'm going to talk about is in there. And if you're a person that rather would watch rather than read, you can go get my video series, samrichter.com/kmvideo, and I keep that updated. Matter of fact, I'll be doing a massive update probably next week or the week following. But you can go get this and watch it. This is really my full 5-hour program on how to find information in ways you never thought possible, and then use that information to grow your business. And of course, you are going to have access to the recording of this video as well. So lots of ways to know more. So when I talk about the 4th hour, what do I mean? You know, we've all gone to school learning that if we master the 3 R's of reading, writing, and arithmetic, we can communicate effectively, we understand a budget, that we're going to be successful. And I would argue in today's world, we have to understand the basic concepts of the 4th hour, or research. Not to say that you have to become a librarian or anything like that, but we've all been given these amazingly powerful tools. I mean, how many of you use Google on a daily basis, or a search engine? All of you. Tools like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, news sources. We've all been given these amazingly powerful tools, but how many of you have read the Google manual? Well, that's because there's no such thing. There's no such thing as the Google manual. But it's pretty easy to use. You type stuff in and something shows up. Well, I can guarantee you you're using maybe 10% of the power of these tools. So how do we become a master of the 4th hour? How do we become a master of knowing more? So again, I'm going to give you a taste of knowing more, some of my favorite tips for finding information, and more important, using that information to grow our business. So we're going to go through 4th Hour University. We're actually going to start out in Google University. And well, actually, we're going to start out in Google Kindergarten. So how to find information on this powerful tool called Google, but I want to get us all at the basic level. So we're going to start out in kindergarten, and hopefully really quickly we're going to get up to the little bit of high school, college, even a little bit of master's and PhD, but let's start out with the basics. We all understand the basics. So Google Kindergarten. What is Google? You know, Google's nothing more than a big vacuum cleaner. So if you can imagine a big vacuum cleaner going around the internet, what it's doing is it's looking for web pages. It's looking for web pages with words on them. When Google finds a web page with words on them, it flips on the vacuum cleaner, it sucks up the words, it stores the words in the big Google vacuum cleaner bag. When you go into Google and type in 1, 2, or 3 words, all that Google's doing is saying, where do those 3 words appear most often on the internet? Here you go. So a key to effective Google searching is really math. It's why you get, if you don't understand the math, it's why you get like 8 billion search results. So if I go into Google and I type in the word copper, what am I going to get? I'll get like 8 gazillion search results. The key to effective searching is math. The first one's a plus sign. So Google, every result must have the word brass, must have the word distribution. Now brass could be in the first paragraph, distribution could be in the 40th paragraph. What I do is I put in a plus sign. Now there's a space before and after the plus. And what I'm telling the search engine is both of those words have to appear on the page. Now technically, you don't need to put in the plus sign. Google's actually going to do that for you. Oops, I had a little glitch here, so hold on a second and we'll get this. I'm just going to pause so I can cut this out on the recording. So, okay. So, technically you don't really need to put in the plus sign. As you notice, when I don't put in the plus sign, I get the exact same results. But what I want you to know is Google's kind of putting in the plus sign for you. So if you see, you can see here that in the web address, after I run a search, you can actually see that Google puts in the plus sign for you. So even though you don't need to technically put in the plus sign, I just want you to understand that that's how Google's working. Google actually uses math, and that's how we're going to get better results. Now the next one is OR, in all uppercase. That's the magic trick. Well, I'm not really sure. Am I looking for directors, or am I looking for managers? By typing in OR, I'm telling the search engine I want one or both of those words. I actually expand my search. Now a super powerful one is the minus sign. Most of you probably aren't using the minus sign. You will after today, because this one will probably save you 20 minutes a day. The minus sign actually acts as a filter. It allows you to remove bad search results. So let me give you an example. I'm going to use my daughter. It's her last day in school today. Now, she's got her final exam. Her teacher says, Maddie, I want you to write a report on the Vikings, the guys from Norway from like 500 years ago with the helmets and the swords and the big boats and stuff. So Maddie does what any high school kid does. She fires up Google. She types in the word Vikings, and what does she get? Now, I'm from Minnesota, so I can say this. 70 million search results on the probably never in my lifetime Super Bowl champion Minnesota Viking football team. Now, we don't want that. We want the guys from Norway. So what could she do based on what we just learned? Well, she could go in and type in Vikings plus Norway plus swords plus boats, or she could say, what word don't I care about? I don't care about the word football. By attaching a minus sign to a word, I actually remove that word from all of the search results. Now notice that the minus sign is actually touching the word that I want to remove. Don't put a space after the minus sign. If you put a space after the minus sign, you actually, Google will ignore you. It'll just think of that as a dash. So make sure that that minus sign actually touches the word that you want to remove. And you can do this like 30 times. So if I eyeball the results, I'm like, I don't want stuff related to videos. I can go minus video. If I don't want stuff related to museums, I can go right back up and do minus museum. So using the minus sign, I can start out with a broad search term and drill down to the information that matters. This next one's super important as well. It's quotation marks. Anytime you're searching for a proper noun, name of a person, name of a company, put it within quotation marks and you'll get way better results. What did we just learn, right? Most of us, if we're going to go in and search for a name, Karen Jane Anderson, most people today go in and type in Karen Jane Anderson. Now, what does Google think I mean? Google thinks I mean Karen plus Jane plus Anderson. So I get 5 million search results. Every single one has the word Karen, has the word Jane, has the word Anderson, just not in the order that I want. A simple thing like putting it in quotes, and I go from millions of search results to a few thousand, every single one the person we're looking for, Karen Jane Anderson. So again, anytime you're searching for a proper noun, name of a person, name of a company, or even a phrase like brass fitting, copper wire, copper tubing, put it within quotes, you'll get way better results. Okay, so that was kind of Google kindergarten. Is that helpful to you? All right, let's kind of move into high school a little bit. How do we actually use this? So I want to go find names of people. I want to go find decision makers at this company, this HVAC company, Total Comfort Solutions. So Google, every result you deliver must be the phrase Total Comfort Solutions. Must have the word director or the word manager, and the word Florida must be on every result. When I run this, and this is what's called a complex Boolean query, all this math is called Boolean logic. It was actually started back in the 1950s by a mathematician named George Boole, and we still use it today. So again, Google's delivering me every result has the phrase Total Comfort Solutions, has the word director or the word manager. Now notice that I'm using parens. You don't really need to. Google will actually ignore those, but again, it helps me think mathematically. And every result must have the word Florida. Now, here's where the art of searching comes in. Eyeball the results. So I did a nice search. I get some pretty good stuff, but eyeball the results. What am I getting a lot of? I'm getting a lot of results with the word jobs. Well, I don't want the word jobs. Remember, I'm looking for job titles, not job opportunities. So based on what we just learned, what do? I go right back up and I minus out the word jobs. So that's kind of the art of searching. Knowing the Boolean, the plus, the minus, the quotes, the ors, that's kind of the science of searching. Knowing when to use certain things is the art. So I eyeball the results, I type in minus jobs, and Google says, well, why don't you tell me you were looking for people? Here you go. And here are the names of people at the company. How many of you suffer from temporary amnesia? How many of you suffer from permanent amnesia like me? How many of you have been hit on the head so many times you can't even remember what you suffer from anymore? What do I mean by that? You know, we've all been taught that to grow our business, we ought to go to networking events, industry conferences, Chamber of Commerce meetings, Rotary meetings, those kinds of things. And you're at these conferences and you meet somebody and they don't have a business card. You're like, oh, no problem. I'll go back and remember their name. And you get back to their office and you have no clue who it is. So I've got a cure for it. I call it temporary amnesia assistance. Google calls it a wild card or an asterisk. Anytime you can't remember a piece of information, drop in an asterisk. Google fills in the blanks for you. So I met this guy. He works at Anderson something or other in associates. Okay, notice what I'm doing here. I know it's a proper noun, so I put the whole thing within quotes. I know I'm missing the stuff in the middle, so I drop in an asterisk, and Google will fill in the blanks for me. So again, anytime you can't remember a piece of information, drop in that asterisk, Google fills in the blanks. What else can I do? Again, I can find job titles. Something manager at Jocelyn Construction, or it might be manager of something at Jocelyn Construction. Put the whole thing in quotes because, again, we're treating it like a proper noun. Where we don't have the information, drop in an asterisk, Google fills in the blanks for us. And again, we pull up the information on people who work at the company. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not teaching you how to hack into Jocelyn Construction's employee directory. I can certainly do it. It's just a way more expensive presentation. But these little tips will hopefully get you to the information you need quicker, faster, so you can have more information, know more, walk into that sales meeting with relevancy, talking about what the other person cares about, and you're going to do this quickly. My goal here is we're done surfing the internet. We're done spending hours surfing the internet, because you all do this. I know you all go in and Google somebody. We're done surfing, because that's called surfing. You go in, you Google somebody, and 2.5 hours later, you're still clicking around and looking at stuff. We're going to start searching the internet using the techniques that I'm sharing with you. Watch this one. You can even use these techniques to find email addresses. Now think about this for a second. Most companies, their website address is the same back end as their email address. So for example, if I work at Widget Corporation, if my website address is www.widget.com, my email is probably something like srichter@widget.com. So I want to find the email addresses for people who work at Kendall Electric. I do a nice Boolean search, Kendall Electric. I find out their web address, kendallelectric.com. Now I'm going to use my something at trick, something at kendallelectric.com. Now again, we're not hacking into their email directory. Rather, what we're doing is looking for websites where email addresses exist. And these could be nonprofits where somebody at Kendall donates money or serves on the board, or maybe somebody's written a bylined article. It doesn't matter. What I'm looking for is the naming convention. So even if I don't find the exact person I'm looking for, all I really need is the naming convention. So if I'm looking for Phil Smith, what's Phil's email address? Well, it's probably phil.smith@kendallelectric.com. So knowing these simple tips can help us stop surfing the web and instead search the web and start finding the exact information we care about. Now, I love this next one, Google filters. You've all seen it, but if you're like most folks, you have no clue that it even exists. Let me show you what I mean. So one of the things that I recommend is 10 minutes before any meeting, you go Google the company or you get some information. So it's easy to do, right? We all have mobile devices, so I recommend whether you're showing up at a coffee shop or you're sitting in your car at their parking lot, take out your mobile device 10 minutes before any meeting and Google them. So I'm looking for this company. I'm going to be meeting with them, Caterpillar Power Generation. I do a nice Boolean search and I get the low number of 1.6 million results. Now I've got 9 minutes before my meeting. I don't have time to look at 1.6 million results. What do? How many of you have seen this button, the news button? Well, it's on every single Google search result. Whether you're looking for Caterpillar Power or whether you're looking for Italian restaurants, it's always there. Click on it. And I go from millions of results to 330 articles. Now, I've got 9 minutes before a meeting. I don't have time to read 330 articles. What do? How many of you have seen this button, the Search Tools button? It's on every single Google search result. Click on it. Because when you click on the Search Tools button, you get a little drop-down menu. And then you can click the Anytime button and sort your articles or even your websites by date. Give me websites or articles from the past year, the past month, the past week. How about the past hour? And now, 10 minutes before that meeting, I can pull up one article about something that's going on in the other person's world. Why is this so important? Because again, when we walk in for a sales meeting, a sales call, what's the most important thing? What should be the first thing out of your mouth? A lot of people think it should be about them. So, hi, Mr. Jones, very nice to meet you. I'm so glad we have got an hour together. Let me share with you my PowerPoint presentation, my 3-ring binder. We've got these beautiful laminated sheets, and we're going to talk about all the great things we can do for you. That's the exact wrong way to start a meeting. The first thing out of your mouth at every meeting needs to be about the other person. Why? Because people are amazingly passionate about one thing. What is it? Themselves. People are amazingly passionate about themselves. So why do we always insist on going into a meeting and talking about ourselves when what we should be doing is talking about the other person? Make sure you're congratulating the other person on that award they just won, that big client they just won. Maybe there's an industry article. Maybe there's an article about their competitor. Whatever it might be, find something about the other person and make sure that's the first word out of your mouth every single time. Now, I love this next trick. I call it the CIA spy method of finding stuff online. How many of you have ever downloaded a file from the internet? Well, we've all done it. There's literally billions of files out there, billions of them, PowerPoint documents and PDF files. You kind of think nothing of it. Well, there's an incredible amount of information. How do you actively find these files? You use what's called the file type colon search. And where I have YYY, you replace it with the kind of file that you're interested in. So for example, if I'm looking for Excel spreadsheets, I would do file type colon XLS, PowerPoint documents PPT, Word documents DOC. What kind of Excel spreadsheets might be out there that we care about? How about budgets, membership lists, attendee lists? PowerPoint documents could be our competitor sales proposals. Word documents, PDF files could be response to RFPs, response to RFQs. Let me give you a couple of examples. So I was working with a company, and they do a lot of work in the nuclear industry. And they said, Sam, we need to find out decision makers in the nuclear industry. So now searching for these files is kind of an art form. And what you need to know is when Google finds a file, it not only vacuums up the title of the document, it literally opens up the file, opens up that spreadsheet, that PDF file, and vacuums up every single word inside that document, meaning the entire document becomes searchable. So Google, go find me an Excel spreadsheet. Inside the Excel spreadsheet is the phrase National Nuclear Security. And also inside that spreadsheet is the word list or the word attendee. A number of them appear, and now, I guess, does it bother you when this kind of stuff shows up? Secure.Interpol. Oh, really? So secure that I was able to pull it up in like a 30-second Google search. That's just great. And here's a list of every single person who has permission to click the red button and blow up the entire planet. Full contact information, including email address and phone number. Now, when I meet with people, sometimes I like to know what their core values are. Now, how many of you have a website that says, click here to learn my core values? My guess is most of you don't. How many of you have ever donated to a nonprofit? Most of you have. And if I can figure out where you donate your time or your money, I can usually figure out what's important to you. So let's go do a search. Most nonprofit organizations will post their donor lists or member lists online as PDF files. So Google, go find me a PDF file. Now I've got a meeting this afternoon with this woman named Deb Mallon. So inside that PDF file must be the phrase Deb Mallon and the word Minneapolis, the word donate, or the word donation. Google pulls up a number of results. And what do I learn? Just by looking at the results, I don't even have to click on anything. I can see that she donates to Minneapolis Jewish Family Children's Service, Talmud Torah, or Minneapolis Jewish Day School, Bethel Synagogue. Why do I care? Because in business, the little things mean everything, don't they? The little things mean everything. So if I'm meeting with Deb on December 21st, what am I not going to say? How about Merry Christmas? The little things mean everything. Again, now if you walk in to Deb and you've got a meeting and you say Merry Christmas, are you going to lose the deal? Of course not. Of course you're not. But those little things mean everything. What do you think happens if I go in and say Happy Hanukkah? I'm just going to be a little bit higher up than the other guy out there. I'm going to differentiate myself from the other people, and I'm going to show her that I care. Now, I've shown you a number of Google tricks. There's a ton more in my book, 312 pages worth of stuff in my book, and 4 hours worth of stuff in my video series. Now, I've shown you all this cool Google stuff. How many of you are like me, you just like to have somebody else do the work for you? That's me. It's great. I need to know it, but I just want someone else to do the work for me. And the really cool thing is it's easy to do. There's a number of alert products out there, Google Alerts. I just haven't found them to be as comprehensive as I need. So I've actually been building my own alert product. It's still in beta, but it works great right now. You can go try it out right now. The product name is called Alert Mix, and you could all sign up for it today at samrichter.com/alert. So just go in there, get your free alert system. What do? What I'm trying to do is take the Boolean out of Boolean. So you log into Alert Mix, and I always recommend that people follow themselves. So, hey, Alert Mix. Anytime the phrase, and notice I just type in all of in the pull-down menu and then type in what I'm looking for. Anytime the phrase Sam Richter shows up, I want to know about it. Now, there's a Sam Richter who's a baseball player, a softball player, a kid who goes to Texas A&M, and a guy who sells window blinds. I don't care about any of those. So I can remove those from my search results. I not only search Google, but I search news articles, blogs, social networks, everything. And anytime anybody's talking about me, I get an email. Or I can just log into my dashboard, because when I set up my alerts, I tag people as prospects or clients or vendors or whoever. And anytime something's going on in the lives of the people I care about, I can log into my dashboard, or I can even choose to get an email. Why do I care? Think about this. When's the only time most of you ever talk to your clients? It's when you have something to sell them, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest. How cool would it be to set up an alert on your best accounts? And anytime something's going on in their world that they care about, you know about it, and you can just fire off a phone call, send them off a note. Hey, Joe, hey, congratulations on winning that new account. Hey, Sally, wow, being named Volunteer of the Year for United Way. That's so cool. Stay in touch with your clients and prospects in ways that are relevant to what they care about. Make them feel important and differentiate yourself from the competition. So that was some Google tricks. Again, you can get them all at takethecold.com, and you can get them all in the video series, samrichter.com/KM video. All right, now I've shown you Google. Now I'm going to show you the scary part of the internet. It's what we call the invisible web, or websites that for whatever reason Google can't even vacuum up. Now, what kind of websites can't Google vacuum up? Well, let's first look at the math. What percentage of the free and publicly accessible internet do you think Google even gets to? The free and publicly accessible internet. Not 100%, because that's not one of your choices. 50? 15? Most people are shocked to learn that it's about 4.8%. Google gets to a very small percentage of the free and publicly accessible internet. The rest is what's called the invisible web, or websites that, for whatever reason, Google can't even vacuum up. What kind of websites can't Google vacuum up? Well, there's lots of technical reasons why Google can't vacuum up a website, but something you can all relate to, it's kind of obvious when you think about it, websites where you have to register. So we've all gone to a website, it's free, registration's free, but if you want to access the 100,000 articles, you've got to register. Now, the owner of that website doesn't want Google to find those articles, because if you could find the article via Google, there'd be no reason to ever go to their website. Make sense? So that's the invisible web. There's literally tens of millions, hundreds of millions of invisible websites. I feature about 80 in my book and in my video series. I'm going to give you just a couple today that I thought would be most beneficial for you as you prepare for your sales meetings. InsideView.com, a great invisible website. Now, you've got to register. Registration's free. And please note that a lot of these invisible websites, they're going to try to upsell you a subscription tool. And hey, if you're doing a lot of prospecting, if you're doing a ton of research, you know, get the membership. It's well worth it. But everything I'm showing you is free. All the tricks I'm showing you are free in everything today. So I go to Inside View. I get my free subscription. I sign up. I'm going to go have a meeting with Allen Engineering Contractor. Notice how I use my Boolean inside the invisible web. And I pull up some basic information about the company. They do about $15.8 million in sales with 75 employees. Now, do they do exactly $15.8 million? Of course not. But I don't really care. I just need to know a range. Okay, I know that they're not a $100,000 company. I know that they're not a $100 billion company. I know they probably do between 14 and 17 million. And they probably have between, 60 and 90 employees. And that's all I really need to know. And I can even get some information on some of their key executives. Another one that I love is connect.data.com. Now, what these guys have done is they go around the world and collect business cards. I'm not really sure how they get them. I think maybe they send people like late at night to restaurants and collect all those fish bowls. I don't really care how they have it. They literally have tens of millions, hundreds of millions of business cards in their database. So I can type in the name of the company. So I'm going to go meet with these guys at Hensel Flood Construction. I log into my free service at connect.data.com. I pull up some basic information about the company, but what I really care about is all of the business cards that they have. So who are the correct people at the company? And over on the right-hand side, I can even see the last time or the date that that business card was uploaded. So awesome stuff, easy to find information. Now, earlier I showed you Google News, and Google News is awesome if you're researching a mid-size or a larger company, because Google News is usually looking at those larger publications, Wall Street Journal, New York Times. But let's be honest, a lot of us are calling on smaller companies. And they don't show up in big company newspapers or big-time newspapers. They're in our local newspapers, our regional newspapers, our weekly shoppers. So I'm meeting with this guy, John Henricks. He's the CEO of DGI Supply. So I go into Google, I type in DGI Supply, I click on the news button, and I get nothing. What can I do? Well, instead of getting frustrated, I go to the invisible website, yougotthenews.com. I think this will become your favorite website really quickly. Yougotthenews.com. I type in the same search, and You Got the News is looking at more than 5,000 local newspapers. I mean, they get the big ones too, like New York Times, but they get the New Jersey Times, Chieftain.com, Winnetka Sun-Times. And this is the kind of stuff you need prior to a meeting. I go in, I type in DGI Supply, and I find this awesome article about John Henricks, the guy I'm meeting with. And that John was the gold medalist on the 1956 Australian Olympic swim team. I mean, how cool is that? So what do you think the first words out of my mouth are when I'm meeting with John? Hey, John, before I meet with people, I like to do a little bit of homework. I just want to differentiate myself and make sure that you feel important, and I want to talk about ways that are relevant to the things you care about. And guess what I found? Why is this important? Because some of you are sitting here going, okay, this is really cool stuff, but how do you make sure people don't think you're a spy or anything like that? It's a great question. So here's the language I use prior to every meeting after I've done my research. I'm going to break it down into a couple parts. Part one, hey, John, before I meet with people, I like to do a little bit of homework. I just want to make sure we're talking about things you care about, and you're a busy guy. I just want to make sure I'm relevant. And part two, guess what I found? So part one, John, before I meet with people, I like to do a bit of homework. Just want to make sure I'm talking about things that you might care about. What have I just done? I probably differentiated myself from every single person he's ever met with before. And now here's the other magic trick. When John put my name on his calendar a few weeks ago, he's like, yeah, I'll meet with you. When he saw my name on his calendar this morning, what was going through his head? Probably, when is this guy going to go away? And if I walk into that meeting and I start talking about myself, what's the small talk going on in his head? When is this guy going to leave? So here's, again, what I do. John, before I meet with people, I like to do a little bit of homework. I want to make sure everything we talk about is relevant to you, what you care about. And then here's the magic phrase, and guess what I found? Guess what happens every single time I say, and guess what I found? Oh, what'd you find? I fully have the person's attention. And then I can ask them a great question. Hey, John, I saw that article about you winning the gold medalist in swimming for the Australian Olympic swim team in '56. Man, that is so cool. I've never met an Olympian. Can you tell me about that? Now I get John talking about something he's amazingly passionate about, himself. That's the power of knowing more. LinkedIn, amazing, powerful networking tool. 300 million people with LinkedIn profiles. What's a LinkedIn profile? It's basically their resume. It's estimated that a new person is adding a new profile every second of every day. LinkedIn is a super powerful sales intelligence tool. Now the problem is most of you use it incorrectly. You log into your LinkedIn account, you type in a name of somebody you're meeting with, Karen Anderson. LinkedIn says, oh great, there's 1,214 of them, have fun. Let me show you how to use your Boolean inside the Invisible Web LinkedIn site. Type in the name of the company or the person, Daniel Kendall plus ABC. Daniel Kendall plus ABC. And I'm just going to go in here and fix this because I notice I've got an error. So we're going to go in and fix this, and I'm going to make it perfect when you see the recording. So apologize. This is kind of live reporting in action, I guess. So go back and do this. Go here. Because one of the things we want to make sure we do is search using our Boolean, and I did my Boolean incorrectly. So let me go back. All right. So what do we need to do? We need to go in and sorry guys, screwed this up. There we go. Okay. So searching within LinkedIn, if you really want to pull up the person's profile the first time, every time, here's how you do it. You go in and you put the name within quotation marks. So notice I'm looking for Daniel Kendall, and then I put in just part of the words about his company. So Daniel Kendall within quotation marks plus ABC, and I pull up his profile. Do this every time. Now, sometimes if Dan had put in a middle initial S, then I'm going to want to take out the quotation marks. but try it first with quotation marks. So Daniel Kendall, put it in, part of the company name, ABC Metals, and what do I learn? I can learn where he used to work. Hey, maybe I know somebody where he used to work. I can see where he went to university or what's his educational background. Hey, maybe I went to that university. And I can see some of the things that he's interested in. He's interested in Spanish, traveling, reading, and newfies. What's a newfie? I have no clue. So I go into Google, I type in newfies, and oh, it's these really huge dogs, the Newfoundland dogs. How cool. Now, how do you use this information? Again, what we're trying to do in sales intelligence is make sure that when we walk into that meeting, we're relevant to what the other person cares about. Now, Dan actually put out his LinkedIn profile. He's basically saying, hey, look at me. He's telling you to look at him prior to the meeting. He's giving you permission to do research on him. So what do I do? Hey, Dan, hey, thanks so much for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it. I know you're a super busy guy, so I like to do a little bit of homework. I want to just make sure we're talking about things you care about. And guess what I found? We're both on that LinkedIn thing. I looked at your LinkedIn profile, and, you talked about some of your interests being learning Spanish and traveling, but I also saw that you're interested in newfies. Do you collect newfies? Are you a breeder? Hey, I actually volunteer for, a dog association. I volunteer for Pug Rescue. So now all of a sudden, Dan and I are talking about something that we both care about. We're relevant, and it becomes less of a sales call and more of a relationship. Because again, at the end of the day, people do business with people that they like. People do business with people that they trust. How do you like somebody? I don't know, when you go meet somebody at a cocktail party, how do you like them? How many of you have like a bullet-pointed list? You take it out of your wallet and check it off when you meet somebody. Of course you don't. You just like somebody. People that have something in common with you. They seem like a good person. So Dan and I, we've never met before. I go in, I do a little research, a little sales intelligence, look at his LinkedIn profile, see he's a huge fan of Newfoundland. I talk about the work I do with Pug Rescue and my love for dogs, and all of a sudden we're connecting on something that we both care about. All right, so that was Google. That was the invisible web. Now, let's move on into the real high-end stuff, subscription databases. So when you saw the description of today's program, you're like, okay, maybe I'll learn a couple things. If I had given you a survey on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is I kind of know how to turn on the power on my computer. 10 is I'm so good at searching on Google, I could work at the Smithsonian and I'm so smart. Most of you would have ranked yourself like a 7, 6 or a 7. Well, if I can paraphrase from Jerry Maguire, I think I had you at quotation marks, didn't I? You're like, oh, okay, I thought I was a 6, thought I was a 7. I guess I'm really a 2. Well, guess what? You're back up to a 7. You are smarter than most people on how to do this stuff. And you're frankly smarter than your kid. You're smarter than a 5th grader. How do I know? Because just think about how easy schoolwork would have been. American history, put that within quotes. Plus, term paper, put that within quotes. File type : DOC, Word documents. Print, go out and party. That's why they don't teach your kids this stuff in school. That's why I can, with confidence, say you're smarter than a 5th grader. But so what? You're still only a 7. You see, where's the best information? The best information is locked up in super expensive databases. The big companies pay big dollars for it. Now, you can get some great stuff via Google and the invisible web, but the best stuff is in these super expensive databases that big companies and governments are paying hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for. Did you know you have access to all of that for free if you know where to look? How many of you have been here in the past year? Your public library. And how many of you have been there for business information? Your local public library has a wealth of business information. What kind of stuff is there? List building databases, Hoovers, Dun & Bradstreet, Reference USA, which is kind of a version of Sales Genie, newspapers and trade journals and magazines. Every article from today's issue going back 100 years, completely searchable, completely free. And here's the really cool thing. You only have to go to your public library one time. When you're there, they're going to give you this piece of plastic. On the back is going to be a number. Write it down. Then go find your public library website. Now, every public library in the country has a different looking website. Here's mine in Minneapolis or Hennepin County. But all of them have this button on there, databases or online resources. Click on it and find out what databases you have access to. The same super expensive databases the big companies are paying big dollars for, you get access to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in your pajamas because you have a library card and it's completely free. Okay, it's not really free if you think about it. Every April 15th we pay for it. You're just not taking advantage of a tool you've already bought. So go to your public library, find out what databases you have access to 24 hours a day online. Have the librarian teach you how to use them. So you basically got a free researcher on your team, a free teacher on your team. Get that library card, log in, and see what you can do. So congratulations. Give yourself a hand. You are graduates of 4th University. And you know what I have to say about that? Who cares? Who cares? So you're smarter than a 5th grader. Because most of us still feel like this. The key is, how do we take information and transform information into knowledge and then act on that knowledge to grow our business? So let's go hunting for business. So for those of you who were in business BG, before Google, 16, 17 years ago, I want you to think about those days. Your first day on the job, you're really jazzed. You walked in, you say to your boss, "Hey boss, where do I get my leads from?" And what did the boss hand you? "Hey boss, where do I get my leads from?" Well, of course they handed you the phone book. "Oh, this is awesome, a list. Where do I start?" A. "How do you know when I'm done?" Z. And that's called hunting for little rabbits. It works. Hey, let's call every single person in the phone book. Let's call every single person on the list, and mathematically somebody will buy from us, and it's true. And you probably had your little mathematical formula, 10-3-1, make 10 phone calls, get 3 meetings, get 1 deal. I don't want that. I like 8-5-4. Get 8 meetings, make 8 calls, make 8 calls, get 5 meetings, close 4 deals. I don't like hunting for little rabbits. Little rabbit hunting is calling everybody. I like going fat rabbit hunting. I only want to find qualified leads. How do we use the 4th R and 4th R University? Some of the tricks you did, just learn to grow your business. Google, go find me an Excel spreadsheet. Now notice I'm looking for different types of Excel spreadsheets. There's Office 2010. The, I guess, back end of an Office 2010 document would be XLSX, or Office, any other previous versions of Office XLS. Google, go find me an Excel spreadsheet. Inside the Excel spreadsheet is the phrase heating and air conditioning, and the word contractors, and the abbreviation for the state of Minnesota. A bunch of results appear. I click on the first one, and it's basically a list of every heating and air conditioning contractor in the state of Minnesota, full contact information, including phone number and email address. Google, go find me a PDF file, a membership directory. I mean, why do associations exist? They exist to provide information to their members. Most associations have a member directory. How do we find it? Because a lot of these member directories can be found online as PDF files. Google, go find me a PDF file. Inside the PDF file must be the phrase Builders Association and the phrase membership directory. Now, when I first ran this search, I got a bunch of applications. I don't want that. What do? I minus out the word application. By the way, here's a trick. You might actually want to try this search with the file type :PDF and without. You're going to get different results. But with file type :PDF, I get 1,480 results, PDF files of Builders Association membership directories that are posted and hosted online. I can click on the first one, and I get full contact information. Oh, by the way, this is page 25 of 173 of the Master Builders Association, and this one looks like a suburb of Seattle. Amazing stuff once you know where and how to look. LinkedIn Advanced, one of the most powerful fat rabbit searching tools on the planet. How do you do it? You log into your LinkedIn account. You click on the Advanced. Now look what I'm doing. I'm using my Boolean inside the invisible web. LinkedIn, go find me every director or manager. That's their job title. Somewhere in their LinkedIn profile, they tell me that they're responsible for purchasing or procurement in the buildings material industry located within 50 miles of my house. Now, this is crazy. Prior to LinkedIn, how many directors or managers in charge of purchasing or procurement in the buildings material industry located within 50 miles of my house do you think I knew? That would be the magic number of 0. But according to LinkedIn, there are 457 fat rabbits that perfectly fit my profile. And I can even save this search, because how many of us are going to remember to go in and do this search, every day? I'm not. Hey, LinkedIn, anytime a new purchasing manager, director moves within 50 miles of my house in the building material industry, please send me an email. I can automate this stuff for me. Now, sometimes you are going to run a search in LinkedIn, and you're going to get a job title. And what happens if you click on the job title? Meaning it's a third-level connection. You don't know the person. You don't know somebody who knows somebody. It's a third-level connection, or you've got no connection. So you get a job title. What happens if you click on the job title? Go upgrade your account. Go pay $49. And you know what? Maybe you should. LinkedIn's an amazing fat rabbit hunting tool. Maybe you should pay the $49 a month if you're doing a ton of prospecting. But if you're like me, you just need the occasional prospect, let me show you what you do. Anytime you get a job title or a third-level connection within LinkedIn, here's what you do. You take your mouse and you highlight the job title. Then you right mouse click and do copy. Now we're going to fire up Google, and we're actually going to paste the job title directly within Google, and then here's the magic trick. Once the job title is pasted within Google, we put it within quotation marks. When you paste a LinkedIn job title within Google, within quotation marks, Google will actually give you the person's name. So now you can use LinkedIn as your fat rabbit hunting tool, and even if you don't know the person, just highlight their job title, right mouse click, copy into Google, paste, put the whole thing within quotes. Google will give you the person's name. And I can even go public. At 3 in the morning, in my pajamas, I can log into my public library. I can fire up the Reference USA database, and I can build a list of, in this example, I'm going to build companies doing a certain number of business with a certain number of employees within a certain geographic area. And in my pajamas, at 3 in the morning, because I've got a library card, I can actually download that list. Well, now I've got to go meet with the company. So I got to go do a little bit of research. Fat rabbit research hunting. I take out the spreadsheet, and I'm going to randomly choose this company called Environmental Graphics. I'm choosing them because most of you are going to go into Google. You're going to type in Environmental Graphics. What are you going to get? Every website in the world with the word environmental in it, every website in the world with the word graphics in it. Let me show you, now that you understand a little bit of the fourth R, what you can do now that you know how to look and where to look. We're going to go into Google. We put in environmental graphics. Notice that we're using our Boolean, environmental graphics within quotes, plus Minnesota. It's the first result, so we click on that, and what do we learn? The company sells wall murals. They manufacture all of this equipment and shipping and logistics, all this stuff related to beautiful wall murals that are sold into event centers and restaurants and hotels. They even have a separate company called Murals Your Way, where you as a consumer can go to muralsyourway.com and buy a wall mural. Now, let's admit it. That's where most of you are going to stop, isn't it? Yep, I did my research. No, you didn't. You kind of went to their website. Big deal. That's like Google Nursery School. Let's go deeper. We're going to log into the Invisible website. So this is a free website called manta.com. We log in, type in the name of the company, and we learn about the size of the company, 5 to 10 million, and the guy we want to meet with is their owner named Ted Yock. We log into my public library at 3 in the morning in my pajamas. We're going to go back to that Reference USA database. Instead of building a list, this time we're actually going to search the company. We type in environmental graphics. What do we learn? The company was formed in 1973. They do about 6.2 million. There's 30 employees, and they're an A-plus credit-rated company. Okay, it's a $6.2 million company located in, somewhere in Minnesota. They're not being featured in the USA Today, so I'm going to go to yougotthenews.com. Notice my Boolean. I type in both company names, and I get a number of great articles, including that they've come out with a new product, and they're named Best of Show at NeoCon. What's NeoCon? I have no clue. I go into Google, I Google NeoCon, and I learn it's the Oscars of the interior design industry. What do I talk about when I meet with Ted Yock? Hey, congratulations. I was doing a little research on you, and you're not going to believe what I found. I saw that you won that Best of Show at NeoCon. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Get the other person talking about something you know they're passionate about themselves. I go to the Invisible website, zoominfo.com. Now, instead of going through the front door, I go through the back door, so I don't have to pay. Zoominfo.com/s/. You need to put in both slashes, type in the name of the person and the company, and we learn a little bit about the guy we're meeting with. See, Zoominfo.com has awesome information on executives. So from 67 to 90, Ted was involved in real estate development. He's got a wife and 3 grown children, 2 grandchildren. He lives in Edina. He's a member of Colonial Church. He's not such a good golfer. An okay tennis player. He likes to hunt pheasants, scuba dive, and travel. We log into LinkedIn. Do I know this guy? I type in Ted Yock plus environmental. I pull up his profile, where he used to work, the things he used to do, where he went to school, some of the activities he was involved in at school, even the organizations he belongs to. Hey, I've done some work with Rotary. Again, we're trying to find something where we can connect. So now I can talk to Ted, and we can talk about the different service projects we've done. I can even see again that he's into golf, travel, helping people, internet marketing, history, and he's married. I'm going to log into Facebook. How many of you have a Facebook account? How many of you, when you opened up your Facebook account, read Facebook's 79 pages of terms and conditions? Well, let me read page 73. It was written in Latin. I'll translate. By opening up a Facebook account, you agree to our privacy policy. You agree that we can change our privacy policy anytime we feel like it, and we don't have to tell you. And that's what Facebook is. Now, I'm not bashing Facebook. I love Facebook. But Facebook is a company. They need to earn money. What's the only asset they have? Well, it's your information, of course. So they would like it if you'd share that information, so then they can do more targeted advertising. What most people don't know is that when they create their Facebook account, even if they set everything to be private, over time they might be inadvertently clicking on things, resetting their Facebook page back to default. Default means open to everybody. How do you search Facebook? People named, notice I use my quotes, Ted Yock. As you can see, Ted and I are not friends, yet I can pull up his Facebook profile, where he went to college, where he went to high school. He's got a son named Steve, another son named Greg. He likes the TV show Modern Family. He likes to read Thomas Friedman books and Vince Flynn novels. He enjoys playing dominoes and cribbage, and here's a picture of Ted on a camel. Does it scare you? Well, it gets worse. Here's even all of his friends. Let's see what Ted's political leanings are, because sometimes knowing what not to say is as important as knowing what to say. So opensecrets.org. I log in every political contribution made in the United States by companies or individuals, because again, sometimes knowing what not to say is as important as knowing what to say. If I meet with Ted, I probably am not going to talk about how I love Obamacare or something like that. He's got a certain political persuasion. Where does Ted donate money? We're going to use the trick we learned earlier. Ted Yock plus Minnesota, donation or donor, file type :PDF. And we see that Ted donates money to the Alzheimer's Association, Children's Home Society, and again, he's a member of Colonial Church. Ted told us he likes to golf. Let's see if he's any good. We go to ghin.com. We type in his name. We see that he's a golfer at Bear Path, and okay, he's 24, so I could probably hang with him. He also is a golfer at Arizona Pinnacle Peak Country Club. So like many Minnesota CEOs, he probably has a home in Minnesota and a second one in Arizona. All right, we already violated his privacy, so we may as well finish. We're going to go to 411.com. We type in Ted Yock. We see that Ted and his lovely wife Fran live at 115 Ridge Drive West. We go to Zillow.com. We type in his address. We pull up his pictures of his home, everything there is to know about his home, even that he's current on his taxes. Well, now that I have that, I'm going to go to Google Earth. I'm going to type in that address. I'm going to drive right up his driveway to see if he's cooking pancakes this morning. And now that I have that, I'm going to go to neighbors.whitepages.com, type in his address, and I'm going to pull up a list of all of his neighbors, the value of their homes, and their full contact information as well. Now, before I meet with him, I better make sure he's not going to shoot me. So I go to criminalsearches.com, this long, ugly address, and well, thank goodness Ted doesn't have any criminal background. Some other Yocks do, so I don't know who these folks are, but again, frankly, it's no big deal because an O is a traffic ticket. So if any of you have ever gone through a red light like me, I'm a member of criminalsearches.com. You probably are as well. So why am I showing you criminal searches and Zillow and Neighbors and all that kind of stuff? I don't really know, but my personal mantra in life is give a person a fish, you feed them for a day, teach them to use the internet, and they leave you alone for a super long time. None of you are going to get any work done the rest of the day. You're all going to be checking out your friends and neighbors and those kinds of things. Okay, now I just had you drink through a fire hose. If you were meeting with Ted, do you really need to do all that stuff? Of course not. Of course not. I just wanted to show you what you could do now that you know where and how. But is it reasonable that 10 minutes before any meeting, you could type in the name of the company, go to Google News. If there's nothing there, you can go to You Got the News. Yeah, that's reasonable. Is it reasonable you can go to his LinkedIn profile? Sure. That's all you need to do. I call it the 3x5. Spend 3 minutes trying to find 5 pieces of information, or 5 minutes trying to find 3 pieces of information. That's it. It's simple. It's easy now that you know where and how to do it, and now that you know more. If you need to reach me, that's my business card. It's the easiest way to find me. Just go into Google and type in Sam Richter. Again, go sign up for the Alert product. I think you'll love it, and you can automate this stuff as it relates to what are people saying about you and your company, and what are people saying about your prospects, your clients, your vendors, the people with whom you do business. Again, you just received a taste of Take the Cold Out of Cold Calling, A Taste of Knowing More. I encourage you to get the book at takethecold.com. If you go to my site, I've got a little special for you. You can get it less expensive than on Amazon. You get free shipping, and you get a ton of free bonuses. So takethecold.com. Or you can, of course, go into Amazon if you have an account, but you can go to takethecold.com and get the book. Or if you really need everything on video, you want to share this with your team, do some lunch and learns with everybody in the office, go to samrichter.com, buy the video series. Oh, by the way, if you buy the video series, you also get some books. So you can buy an individual license or you can buy them for your whole team. So will your business be better with access to better information? Hey, thanks so much for hanging with me today. I hope you enjoyed the program. I'll get this recording edited. I'll get those glitches fixed, and then we'll send you out a link where you can watch the video again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to work with you. It was great fun with you out at your conference. Hope you have the opportunity to see you again soon. Thank you very much.
Well, and thank you, Sam, for a captivating presentation. And Sam, we do have just a few minutes for questions, so please write down any questions you have in the toolbar in the chat window, in the question window. One we do have that Sam might have answered in the course of his discussion of the topic, but the question is, how much value is there in the paid LinkedIn subscription as opposed to the free version? Sam, you did go into it a little bit, but just do you want to address that?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great question. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I don't delete the recording. Let me just save this before I answer.
Okay.
So we're going to do that. So let me just save this. Okay. The question as it relates to should I get the paid version of LinkedIn? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're an organization that does a lot of prospecting, the paid version of LinkedIn is great. It's super powerful, and you get access to a lot more things. You can contact people directly versus kind of using some of the tricks that I have to do, so it'll really save you time. So if you do a ton of prospecting for $49 a month, in my opinion, it's worth it. But if you're like me, I need a couple of names here, I need a name there, I can use the techniques that I taught you today, and those are, of course, all free.
Terrific. Thank you. All right. And are there any other questions? We just have a few minutes here. So, okay, I don't see any more questions, so, but if you do think of something later, you all know how to reach Sam now. So please feel free to drop him an email. And before we go, please be looking for an email from the Copper and Brass Services Center Association early next week. And that email will contain a link to today's presentation recording. I would once again like to thank our special guest speaker, Sam Richter, and thank you all for joining us this morning. We hope to have you again with us at a future CABSA e-training webinar. Thank you and goodbye.